All our dreams can come true only if we have the courage to pursue them. With this quote of Walt Disney, a very good morning to you all, and we warmly welcome you all to yet another episode of Civilspedia's daily current affairs analysis for the day of 12th November, brought to you by ShankarIASAcademy. And we also kindly request you to subscribe to the ShankarIASAcademy YouTube channel and click the bell icon for receiving prompt notification. Before moving to the list of topics for today's discussion, a small announcement from ShankarIASAcademy that the batch 3 of pre-storming UPSC Prelims Test Series is about to start from 19th November 2025, and the link for registering this test series will be available in our website, and you can also scan the QR code given in the slide for registering yourself for this test series. Please register yourself and get cracked this UPSC Prelims of 2026. And here are the list of topics for today's discussion, and the first topic is about the Ayni Airbase. Recently, India has withdrawn from this Ayni Airbase, and the second topic is about the Cryosphere Crisis, which was discussed in detail about this Cryosphere Crisis, which is related to Himalayas, and the third topic is about the SEBI Advisory on digital gold or e-gold, and the third topic is about the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam of 2023, and the fifth topic is about the Prelims Focus, where we discuss about the important prelims topics which are very relevant for our UPSC exams. India has recently withdrawn its forces from the Ayni Airbase, which was in Tajikistan, and with this news article from the Indian Express, we will be discussing in detail about what is this Ayni Airbase and its strategic significance, and also the impact on India upon its withdrawal of forces from this Ayni Airbase from the UPSC Prelims point of view. And what was this Ayni Airbase? This is located near Dushanbe of Tajikistan, which is the capital of Tajikistan, and it is also located near the Afghanistan's Wakhan corridor, which is about 220 kilometers from this Afghanistan's Wakhan corridor, and it is originally built during the USSR era, and India got its involvement of this Ayni Airbase or the foothold over this Ayni Airbase around early 2000s, and there is an upgradation that was taken from the Indian side to this Ayni Airbase around 2002 through a bilateral agreement between India and Tajikistan, and the upgradation work are done through the Border Road Organization of India. And what are all the significant upgradation done by India over this Ayni Airbase? Or runway got extended to 3,200 meters, which is also compatible for the movement of fighter jets as well as the transportation of heavy transport aircraft. And the Border Road Organization also constructed separate hangars for the docking of fighter jets over there, and also the separate storage for the fuel system has been established, and also a separate center for the air traffic control and management also has been established under this bilateral agreement. And what is the strategic significance of this Ayni Airbase with related to India? This is India's only full-fledged overseas operational military base. So this is very important for our UPSC prelims, that it can be reflected in our UPSC prelims question like a statement based question, and this only is very important, that it can be appear to be deceptive, but it is very true that it is only full-fledged overseas operational military base for India. And it also, this Ayni Airbase also offered strategic access to India's various position, or India's strategic access to various regions such as Central Asian region, Afghanistan, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, as well as the China's Xinjiang region. And it also strengthened the India's foothold and the role with related to Russia and China, which got earlier dominate the Central Asian region. And what was the reason quoted for the withdrawal of forces from this Ayni Airbase with related to India? And the withdrawal of forces was initiated around 2022, and it got completely withdrawn from the Ayni Airbase. The forces got completely withdrawn from the Ayni Airbases recently. And what was the reason? That the lease agreement with the Tajikistan, which got expired, is the primary reason for the withdrawal of forces, and the Tajikistan did not initiated for the renewal of this agreement, and believed to be influenced by the Russian and Chinese diplomatic pressure. So the Russian and Chinese diplomatic pressure is the assumed reason for the non-withdrawal or the non-renewal of this agreement between India and Tajikistan. And India has also not initiated or taken any step to renew this agreement between India and Tajikistan for the foothold of our forces over there. And what was the impact on India upon its withdrawal of forces from the Ayni Airbase? It got the reduction in the military footprint or the military foothold over the Central Asian region, and the loss of strategic surveillance as well as the quick response position. We have the quick response position when we are near the Ayni Airbase to the Wakhan corridor, Afghanistan as well as the China-Pakistan axis. And it also limits the India's direct regional military presence over the Ayni Airbase as well as the Central Asian region, like unlike the China, which got its significance as well as the strategic position over this Ayni Airbase as well as the Central Asian region. And also it also has the military foothold over the and its influence over the Djibouti, which is also a African nation. The rising foothold as well as the significance of Chinese presence over the Djibouti is also an important thing we need to note from India's perspective. And what does India have any other overseas military bases around the world? Only a strategic location such as the Agalega, which is in Mauritius, which is an operational runway and a jetty, that is the docking of ships over the place, built by India around 2024, and it also extends the Indian Navy's reach in the Western Indian Ocean. And it is not a military base over there. And the Bhutan we have a training team over there, which is the permanent training presence over the Bhutan region, which trains the Royal Bhutan Army as well as the royal bodyguards of Bhutanese people. And there is no permanent combat air bases abroad for India, unlike the rising as well as the strong foothold of USA as well as China, having separate military bases across the globe in a strategic manner. And what are the additional static points we need to note from UPSC point of view? That this Wakhan corridor, which is very important, that is a narrow strip in the northeastern part of Afghanistan. So here we can see the small strip of land. This is known as the Wakhan corridor, which is in close proximity to the Chinese territory as well as Pakistan, which is bordered by China, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Pakistan, Afghanistan as well as Tajikistan. So we have to note that this borders China, Tajikistan, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and acts as a buffer region between South Asia as well as Central Asia. And Central Asia is strategically critical for energy access resources and counter-terrorism cooperation and connectivity initiatives, which was primarily the focus over the Central Asian region related to India, that is International North-South Transport Corridor as well as the Chabahar Port. And moving to the prelims practice question, consider the following statement. First statement, the Ayni Airbase in Tajikistan provide India with strategic proximity to both the Wakhan corridor and Chinese Xinjiang region. And the second statement, India currently operates multiple full-fledged overseas military air bases for extended force projection. Which of the statements given above are correct? So in this question they have asked about the correct statement, and the first statement was correct because Ayni Airbase in Tajikistan provides strategic proximity to both the Wakhan corridor and Xinjiang region of China for India. So the first statement was correct, and the second statement was incorrect because India currently does not operate multiple full-fledged overseas military air bases for extended force projection, and this Ayni Airbase is the only full-fledged overseas military airbase for India. So the second statement was incorrect, and they have asked about the correct statement. So the answer will be option A, one only. Yes. With this, we move to the next topic. This news article from The Hindu: Cryosphere Crisis, Glaciers, Water Scarcity and a Race to Adapt in the Himalayas throw some light over the ongoing crisis in the Indian Himalayan region, and the associated climate change activities got threatened the water security of that region and the adaptation of the people inhabiting that land. And this article also addresses the adaptation strategies and crucial measures to address this ongoing crisis on that region. And what are the key facts associated with this news? That the Indian Himalayan region spans around 11 Indian states and 2 union territories, covering about 2,500 kilometers of land stretch, which is also a home to around 22,000 glaciers and the population of around 77 million. And this Himalayan region is also called as the third pole because of it contains the third largest freshwater ice reserve after Arctic and Antarctic region. And this region is also known as the water towers of Asia because it acts as a major source for major rivers such as Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Yamuna and other rivers. And the Hindu Kush Himalayas warming rate is also in a faster rate than the global average, which shows the concern towards the glacial melting as well as the decrease in the snow cover of that region. Since 1950, the area has been warmed around 2 degrees Celsius, which is greater in number with related to the climate change activities, and in relation to the higher elevation, the warming was up to 0.34 degrees Celsius per decade. So this will be very important for our UPSC prelims, that this increase in the global average or the region's temperature will adversely affect the snow cover as well as the glacial melting capacity. And what are the causes for the glacial melting as well as the snow cover decreasing? Was the first and primary cause was the increase in the greenhouse gas emission, which increases the long-term global temperature, will also lead to the increase in the glacial melting capacity as well as the decreasing the snow cover of that region. And the black carbon, or also known as soot, because of this negative albedo that the black carbon has, it absorbs the heat which got deposited on the snow and accelerate the melting capacity, which is 50% faster than the average melting capacity that got earlier reported. And the erratic precipitation, which is unpredictable precipitation, also reduces the snowfall over that region, which will eventually decrease the snow cover of that region. And the altered melting patterns also causes the glacier to melt in a faster rate. And what are the possible impacts? It got the reduced snow persistence, because recently the snow persistence fell to around 23.3%, which is below average and got recorded the lowest since 2003. This reduced snow persistence will lead to the lower snow cover over the region. This lower snow cover will also reduces the flow of the river in summer season, affecting both the irrigation as well as the drinking water, which led to the water security issues around that region. And what are the water security threats associated with this possible impacts around the glacial melting as well as the decreased snow cover? The glacial melt will be critical for and acts as the source for major rivers such as Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. So this glacial melt will act as the sustained flow of that river, and it contributes around 40% of flow to the Indus River and 15% of flow to the Ganga and Brahmaputra respectively. And this delayed melting will affect the snowing season, and the people irrigation based the irrigation was based on this flow only, so that the people who depend on the irrigation as well as the adaptation also got affected because of this delayed melting capacity, and it impacts the food security of that region. And what are the other impacts? That is increased cryospheric hazard, and it will also lead to other hazards of that region, that is related to landslides, avalanches and the glacial lake outburst floods that are recently increasing in that region. And also the livelihood impacts, that it adversely affects the population of that region. Traditional water system also got affected because of the glacial melting. It got affects the glacier fed streams and canals, got also weakened, and higher migration risk also associated with the mountain villages who got sustained by the glacial melting as well as the snow cover, and their habitat depends on that snow cover only. And what are the recent United Nations steps towards the conservation of this region? The declaration of 2025 as the International Year of Glaciers Preservation, and it also declares the 2025 to 2034 as a decade of action for cryospheric sciences. So this will be very important for our UPSC prelims. And what are the additional points related to this news article is that the ICIMOD, that is International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, which will be the primary body or the intergovernmental knowledge center which coordinates the climate research in the Himalayan region and having the headquarters at Kathmandu. So this contains the Himalayan region nations. And the other additional point is that the cryosphere. So what is cryosphere? It is the region which has the water in various forms such as snow, ice, glaciers, permafrost, and frozen lakes or rivers. So this region will be containing the water in various forms is known as the cryosphere. Moving to the prelims practice question, consider the following statement regarding the Himalayas. The Himalayan region is referred to as the third pole due to holding the largest ice reserve outside the Arctic and Antarctic region. And the second statement, snow melt contributes the highest proportion of annual river in the Ganga basin compared to the Indus basin. Which of the statement given above is are correct? So in this question they have asked about the correct statement. The options are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2, and the first statement was correct because it is Himalayan region was referred to as the third pole because it contains the largest ice reserve outside Arctic and Antarctic region. So the first statement was correct, and the second statement was incorrect because it got inversely mentioned in this statement that the snow melt contribute highest proportion of annual river flow in the Indus basin with around 40%, and the Ganga basin was comparingly only 15%. So the second statement was incorrect, and the answer will be option A, 1 only. Yes. With this we move to the next topic. Recently, Securities and Exchange Board of India has issued an advisory warning and caution warning to the investors and speculators who are in dealing with the product, so-called product known as digital gold or e-gold. So with this news article from the Indian Express, we will be discussing about what is this digital gold and e-gold product is of, and what is the advisory warning provided by the Securities and Exchange Board of India, and also about the basics of SEBI. And what is the context behind this news? That the Securities and Exchange Board of India has issued a public advisory which cautions the investors against dealing with the products which are unregulated by the SEBI. The products are digital gold or e-gold. These products offered through various online platforms. And why the advisory by the SEBI in all of a sudden in nature? Many online platforms who are advertising and promoting the digital gold as a convenient alternative to physical gold, and however this product has been promoted or advised through various online platforms, digital gold is not regulated by the Securities Exchange Board of India. So that only the Securities and Exchange Board of India came into picture and issued advisory warning to the investors who are dealing with this product, and these products are not classified as securities under the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act and not being regulated as a commodity derivatives, and therefore no investor protection will be provided to this product such as digital gold or e-gold, and safeguards will not be applied to these products as well. And what are the risk factors associated with the investors who are dealing with this digital gold or e-gold, there is a risk of counterparty risk where no guarantee has been provided whether the seller has the actual product or holds the actual product, and there is a no probability of delivering of the actual product, that is physical gold, upon the transaction has been finalized. And there is an operational risk factor associated that there may be a fraudulent website or the fraud has been involved in this process, and the platform will be shut down all of a sudden, and upon the transaction there may be a possibility of hacking, and data breach is also possible risk factor associated with the investors who are involving in the trading of such products, and the accounts of such transaction will be freezed by government mechanism as well as through hacking or hackers. And there is no protection under the SEBI guidelines, or the SEBI will not provide any protection related to the investment made out by the investors who are involving in this products, and investors cannot approach the SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India's grievance or appellate body regarding the dispute aroused with related to the transaction made out by the investors who are dealing with this products. And what are the safe alternatives which are to be under the purview of the SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India, who also regulate such gold investment options such as gold exchange traded funds, which comes under the mutual funds category, which is backed by physical gold. That is, these funds or this exchange traded funds are backed by physical gold, and there will not be an actual trade with the physical gold. Instead, there may be a securities involved which is related to the actual value of physical gold has been traded as shares. And the second alternative is commodity derivative contracts, under which the derivatives of physical products such as wheat or gold and other materials will be traded in the actual for the actual products, and this involves the futures and options, and this future will contains the obligation to buy or sell upon the predicted or the estimated period, after the estimated period, and upon the options there will be no obligation upon the buying or selling of the product upon the stipulated period. And the third alternative was electronic gold receipt, that is EGRs, which represents the ownership of gold stored in vaults. So this electronic gold receipts is an actual alternative to the gold that is exchange traded funds. In this electronic gold receipts, if you are the investor, you can hold the physical gold in the vault. Instead of trading with the gold itself, you can get the receipt, that is gold receipt, electronic gold receipt for the gold, the physical gold that you are holding in the vault, and you can involve in the trading of this or the investment of this electronic gold receipts as a exchange mechanism, and it can be tradable on stock exchanges. So with this gold receipt, we can involved in the process of investment as well as the exchange in the stock exchanges, which was introduced under SEBI, that is Securities Exchange Board of India Vault Managers Regulation Act of 2021. And what is this digital gold or e-gold is of? It is a private platform based gold purchasing mechanism upon which the online platform involving in the so-called product known as digital gold or e-gold, which is not being recognized under the Securities Contracts Regulation Act of 1956. So this will be very important for our UPSC prelims, and it is being not regulated by any of the bodies known as Securities and Exchange Board of India, Reserve Bank of India, or any financial regulator under the Indian government. And we also has to note about the SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is a statutory body which got initially introduced as a non-statutory body, but later it got the statutory status. It got initially established in the year of 1988, but later it got the statutory status upon the introduction of Securities and Exchange Board of India Act of 1992. So these are all the basics related to the Securities and Exchange Board of India, and it is headquarters in Mumbai, and it also has the regional offices at Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Delhi, and in Chennai. So these are all the regional offices of SEBI. So these are all also important for our UPSC prelims too. And moving to the prelims practice question, the question is: consider the following statement regarding gold investment in India. First statement: electronic gold receipts are regulated by SEBI and are tradable on stock exchanges. Statement second: digital gold offered by private online platforms is regulated under the Securities Contract Regulation Act of 1956. Which of the statements given above are incorrect? And we can easily came to know that the first statement was a correct statement, because the electronic gold receipt, which is an alternative to the physical gold receipt kept by an investor in the vault, being regulated by the SEBI and can be tradable on stock exchanges. So the first statement was correct, and the second statement was incorrect, because it has been the digital gold has not been comes under the purview of Securities Contract and Regulation Act of 1956, and it cannot be regulated by the SEBI. So the second statement was incorrect, and it is not regulated by the SEBI. And here they ask about the incorrect statement. The answer will be option B, 2 only. Yes. With this, we move to the next topic. Justice B.V. Nagaratna, who is the sole woman judge in the Supreme Court at present, has recently observed that the women will be the largest minority of India, and why not to give them the representation without the reservation. And she also throws a specific question related to the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam Act of 2023, which is also the Women Representation Act, which is yet to be implemented in India, which is also known as the 106th Constitutional Amendment Act. With this news article from The Hindu, we will be discussing in detail about the provisions or the questions related to the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. And what happened in that observation, that the Supreme Court led by Justice B.V. Nagaratna has observed that the women are the largest minority in India, with the equivalent population of around 48.44% of population with respect to the total population of India, yet remain underrepresented in the parliament as well as the state assemblies. The court also questions why the women's reservation cannot be ensured without waiting for the pending reservation, and why this 106th Constitution Amendment Act or the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam law has not been implemented yet. The Act states that the reservation bill will be enforced only after the conduction of the next census, and also the delimitation exercise, which is the redrawing of constituencies, will be taken place after the completion of the census data will be collected. Only the Act will be implemented. This will lead to the dragging of this implementation of this specific act related to the women's representation in the parliament as well as the state assemblies. However, the government has not specified any timeline for the conduction of the census activities as well as the delimitation exercise is going to happen, and this has led to the concern related to the indefinite delay of the implementation of this act into progress. And what are the key constitutional provisions and the references which are very important for our UPSC prelims related to the women's reservation as well as the women's representation with related to the Indian context? The Article 15 subclass 3, which allows the state to make special provisions for women, and this will be the basis for the affirmative actions that need to be taken in the society. And the second will be the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam 2023, which is yet to be implemented, which is also known as the 106th Constitutional Amendment Act, which is not yet implemented, which gives or which ensures the 33% reservation of women in the legislatures at both the parliament as well as the state assemblies, and it is valid for around 15 years, and it can be extendable up to further progress after the implementation. And the other provisions are the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act introduced in the year of 1993, which ensures or which implements the 33% reservation of women in the panchayats and municipalities, and this has been implemented already, which led to the significant rise in the women's participation at grassroots level political participation. So this can be quoted as an example in the mains exam, and this will be an important point with related to the women's representation at the grassroots level. And the next provision was the 77th Constitutional Amendment Act, which was introduced in the year of 1995, which provides the reservation in the promotion with related to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the government jobs. So this can also be quoted in the mains examination with related to the empowerment of women with related to their marginalized communities and the government job that they have. And the other provision which is very important for our UPSC prelims, that is the recently introduced 103rd Constitution Amendment Act on 2019, which ensures the 10% reservation for the economically weaker section quota. This has been provided as a special reservation and implemented without the census based delimitation. So this will be very important that this 10% reservation will be introduced into the constitution or the amendment that has been made in the constitution without considering any census data or the delimitation exercise. So this will be very important to be quoted with related to the women representation, which is being dragged to years and which has not been implemented, which impedes the women's participation in the governance level as well as in the political participation. And what are the wider issues which are associated with the women's representation in the Indian context is that the persistent gender gap. It exemplifies the gender gap in the society, and also it also has the persistent gender gap in the political decision related to the women's representation as well as the women related bills on decision making, and it also affects the policy priorities with related to the Women's Act or women related provisions, and the delimitation based implementation may politically delay women's reservation beyond the years of 2029 or 2034. So there may be a possibility when this provision of after the conduction of delimitation as well as the census data collection only, the Women's Reservation Act will be implemented, will drag the women's representation to further extent of 2029 or 2034, which will be very lagging to implement this women representation. And there is a debate over substantive representation as well as token representation. So this will be very important for our UPSC mains preparation, that this substantive representation will be the holistic and the to the point representation of women who are focusing more over the means oriented representation. When the women got represented adequately in the political level, they will actively participate in the political activity with related to the women related acts or women related provisions. So they may be empowered and they may have a word towards the gender empowerment or with related to women. But according to the token representation, this is a mere representation that needs to be provided based on the gender. So this will act as a for the sake representation. This token representation is like a for the sake of giving representation, it will be provided, but they may not be actively participating towards the empowerment of women. So there will be a debate over this substantive representation as well as token representation. And moving to the mains practice question, the question is the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam 2023 seeks to ensure greater representation of women in Indian legislatures. Its implementation is tied to future census and delimitation exercises. Discuss whether this conditional implementation strengthens constitutional fairness or result in delayed gender justice. So with this question, this is a 15 more question. This needs to be answered in the 250 words. So please take this question and post your answers in the comment section given below. We will evaluate and give the feedback in the comment section itself. With this, we move to the next topic. Coming to the prelims focus, the first topic is about the National Legal Services Day, which will be observed every year on 9th November, and it also commemorates the establishment of Legal Services Authority Act of 1987, which enables the free legal aid, especially to the marginalized and the poor. And we also has to note about the separate authority known as NALSA, which is National Legal Services Authority, which got operationalized in the year of 1995 at November 9. So this date will be observed every year as the National Legal Services Day. And this NALSA, that is National Legal Services Authority, was established on the legal framework which provided by the Legal Services Authority Act of 1987, which provides the legal framework, and the constitutional basis was provided to NALSA was from Article 39A, which got introduced into the Constitution through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. So these are all the important facts that need to be noted from the UPSC point of view. And with regarding this NALSA, it is a statutory body. And what are all the key highlights which related to the National Legal Services Authority? That between the year of 2022 to 25, the legal aid to the poor has reached around 44.22 lakh people, and between the years of 2022 to 23 to 2022 to 24 to 25, the around 23.58 crore cases has been settled through the establishment of Lok Adalats, and as of February 28 of 2025, around 2.10 crore people have received free legal advice as well as the support under the Disha scheme, which is an initiative of Department of Justice under the Ministry of Law and Justice. And this Disha scheme is known as the designing innovative solutions for holistic access to justice, and under the Department of Justice by the Ministry of Law and Justice. So these are all the important things that need to be noted regarding the NALSA. And the second topic is about the Buddha's relics as a goodwill gift. Recently, India has gifted Buddha relic to the Bhutan as a goodwill gift. India has sent sacred Buddha's relic to Bhutan as a goodwill gift for Global Peace Prayer Festival. So these are all very important, and this relics has been publicly displayed at the prominent hall at Bhutan known as Grand Kunere of Tashichodsong of Thimphu. This Tashichodsong is a fortress as well as the monastery located at Thimphu of Bhutan. And the relics has its origin from Piprava, which was discussed already in our earlier video. This Piprava relics in Uttar Pradesh, which is near the Nepal border, identified by many archaeologists as the ancient city of Kapilavastu. So this has been identified by this Piprava region of Uttar Pradesh has been identified by many archaeologists with the ancient city or the ancient region of Kapilavastu. So these are to be noted, and this Piprava region was excavated by British archaeologist William Claxton Pepe in the late 19th century. And what is the significance related to the goodwill gift offered by the India to Bhutan? It strengthens the India-Bhutan spiritual as well as cultural ties, and it also highlights the India's cultural diplomacy with related to other nations, and it also reinforces shared Buddhist heritage between the Buddhist nations. And moving to the next topic is about the operational White Cauldron, which has been initiated by the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, which has dismantled a multi-state drug network by busting a clandestine alprazolam manufacturing unit at Valsad. And it has been conducted by Directorate of Revenue Intelligence and seized materials such as alprazolam and chemicals like p-nitro chlorobenzene, phosphorus pentasulfide, ethyl acetate, and hydrochloric acid. What is the legal status behind this drugs which has been seized by this Directorate of Revenue Intelligence? This alprazolam is a type of psychotropic substance under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Prevention Act of 1985. So this will be very important for our UPSC prelims, and the significance related to the seizure of this drugs through this Operation White Cauldron highlights the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence commitment to protecting citizens from narcotic and psychotropic threats. Moving to the question session, there is a previous year question which was asked in the year of 2024. The question is with reference to ancient India, Gautama Buddha was generally known by which of the following epithets? First is Nyayaputa, second Sakya Muni, third Tadagatta. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Option A 1 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 1, 2 and 3, and option D none of the above are epithets of Gautama Buddha. So we can easily know that the Sakya is related to Buddha, that is Buddha was associated with the Sakya dynasty. So we can arrive at the option 2 as correct because it is related to Gautama Buddha, and Tadagatta is also related to the epithet of Gautama Buddha. So and the answer will be option B 2 and 3 only, and this Nyayaputa was related to Jainism and the 24th Tirthankara Mahavira. It is the epithet of Mahavira. So this option 1 is not correct, and option 2 and 3, that is option B 2 and 3 only is the correct answer. Yes. With this, we came to the conclusion of this video. Hope you guys like the video. Please share your positive comments and suggestions in the comment section given below, and share the video to your friends. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and bell icon for receiving on-time notification. Thank you for watching us. Have a good day.